In the newest episode of Emmerdale, Joe Tate makes a serious mistake. But has he permanently damaged his relationship with Dawn Fletcher, or is there still hope for them? The episode showed Joe bonding with Lucas Taylor as they settled down to watch what he proudly called the best movie ever made, Back to the Future. Meanwhile, Dawn and Gabby Thomas observed from a distance, chatting about Joe's surprisingly charming side that doesn't always show. Graham Foster then entered the room and mentioned that Joe had been obsessed with the same film when he was just 14 years old. He explained that it had remained Joe's all-time favourite and reflected on how isolated Joe had felt during his teenage years. Later that day, Dawn approached Joe with something significant on her mind. She admitted, "I think I could be pregnant," catching him completely off guard. She clarified that she hadn't taken a test yet, but her period was late, unusual for her, which made her suspect something was different. Joe reacted with overwhelming excitement, shouting, "That's incredible," as he wrapped her in a tight embrace. However, Dawn's uneasy expression suggested she didn't share his enthusiasm. Afterwards, Joe confided in Graham about the possible pregnancy, confessing that it had come as a shock, especially since he had been on immunosuppressant medication. He described it as an unexpected but joyful accident. He went on to admit that being a stepfather had meant more to him than he ever imagined, but this situation felt unique to him. It would be his own biological child, a true Tate legacy. When Dawn overheard their conversation, Graham quickly excused himself, sensing tension between the couple. Dawn then confronted Joe, asking whether he had told Graham the news. Joe responded that he shares everything with the man he sees as a father figure. Dawn admitted she wished he had kept it private, as she wasn't even certain she was expecting, or if she wanted another baby at all. Frustrated and upset, Dawn walked away, leaving Joe stunned. Has his impulsive decision to share the news created a rift between them, or can their relationship recover? In Emmerdale, Paddy completely loses control as the nightmare surrounding him and his father Bear spirals even further. Shielding Beowulf from the consequences of his actions has practically turned into a full-time responsibility for the village vet. Bear remains deeply shaken after being caught up in a human trafficking operation and then accidentally killing his captor, Ray Walters. For weeks, Paddy struggled to stop his father from confessing his involvement in Ray's death. Paddy has consistently put his dad first, even standing up to Mandy Dingle when Kane attempted to pressure the vulnerable older man into revealing the truth to protect Moira Dingle. Determined to keep Bear safe, Paddy refused to back down. However, all that effort proved pointless. Unable to live with his guilt and sorrow any longer, Bear eventually went to D.S. Walsh and confessed, though he carefully left out the roles Paddy and Dylan Penders played in disposing of the body. With Ray's funeral approaching, fragile Bear is facing yet another emotional setback. Dylan is also wrestling with his complicated feelings about Ray's death, while Laurel Thomas is struggling with her own conscience. She decides that Ray deserves at least one person at his burial. Paddy, Dylan and Mandy strongly disagree and try to hide the funeral from Bear, worried it could push him over the edge. But their careful plan falls apart when Claudette Anderson inadvertently reveals the truth. Now Paddy is forced to deal with Bear's determination to attend the service, despite Laurel and Claudette's failed attempts to dissuade him. Paddy only learns about what happened afterwards and is left to handle the fallout. Furious, he lashes out at Laurel, blaming her for irresponsibly putting Bear in harm's way. Sadly, his fears prove justified when Bear turns his anger on his son, exposing fresh trauma and showing signs of slipping into another downward spiral. Later, Laurel discovers Bear drinking alone and encourages him to share what he's feeling. The actress who plays Laurel has explained that an unusual bond begins to form between the two characters. She suggests they connect through their shared emotional conflict, both carrying pain, yet also having complicated feelings for Ray. In a strange way, Bear and Laurel are united by their mixed emotions toward the man they both cared about. But Bear's mental state continues to deteriorate rapidly. After failing to obtain the pain relief he wanted from Manpreet Sharma, he heads to the hospital with an injured hand, determined to get medication. Given his unstable condition, the situation quickly descends into chaos. Though he has no intention of causing harm, Bear becomes unpredictable, and someone could end up suffering because of his worsening decline. Emmerdale actress Lisa Riley has opened up about how the much-anticipated Corriedale crossover with Coronation Street could have unfolded very differently if she hadn't taken part in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here last year. Lisa, who famously portrays Mandy Dingle in the long-running soap, joined the reality series and was the 8th contestant to be eliminated in the episode broadcast on the 6th of December. Her time in the Australian jungle, filled with challenges and intense public voting, meant she had to miss out on the Corriedale crossover event entirely. However, she is now making her much-anticipated return to Emmerdale, just as her on-screen husband, Paddy Dingle, finds himself entangled in some of the soap's most dramatic storylines in recent months. Reflecting on the missed crossover opportunity, Riley told Woman's Weekly, "I would have absolutely loved to be part of Corriedale if I hadn't gone to Australia, but honestly, my time away was incredible. I had the most amazing experience, met some wonderful people, and learned so much about myself. It was challenging, but completely unforgettable." On returning to the Emmerdale set, Riley expressed her excitement about reconnecting with her colleagues and her enthusiasm for resuming her role. She said, "I genuinely adore my Emmerdale family and everything about being part of this show. It's so lovely to be back. The cast and crew have been so welcoming, and it feels like coming home. I miss the camaraderie and the energy of the set while I was away." During her absence, Riley entrusted one of her fellow cast members to manage her social media accounts to keep fans updated. She also revealed that one of the first people she reached out to after leaving the jungle was her on-screen husband. "Bradley Riches took care of my social media while I was away, and I have to say, I feel like I've found an adopted son with him on set. He is genuinely one of the kindest people I've ever met," she said. "When I finally got to call Dom after my jungle experience, I got completely emotional. He was my biggest supporter throughout the entire show. Our relationship is like that of a brother and sister, supportive, loving, and unshakable. And I know that bond will always remain, no matter what happens." Turning to Mandy's return to the Dales, Riley teased the intense drama her character will face. She explained that Mandy is stepping back into a particularly turbulent time for her family. Paddy has recently been arrested following Bear's confession concerning the death of Ray Walters, a situation that has sent shockwaves through the village. Meanwhile, Dylan is struggling to process the emotional fallout from his own traumatic experiences, including his ordeal with April Windsor. Riley described Mandy's role in the coming episodes as fiercely protective. "Mandy is a Dingle to her very core. She will do absolutely anything to safeguard her family and those she considers her own," she explained. Her focus is on looking out for Paddy and her surrogate child, Dylan. She is determined, loyal, and completely unafraid to put herself on the line for the people she loves. That's the heart of who Mandy is. She's tough, compassionate, and will never back down when it comes to protecting the people who matter most to her. With her return, fans can expect Mandy to be at the center of emotionally charged storylines, balancing the weight of family loyalty, moral dilemmas, and her own determination to keep those she cares about safe. Lisa Riley's insight suggests that Mandy's journey in Emmerdale is far from over, and her presence is set to have a significant impact on the unfolding drama in the village. If you want, I can also rewrite it in a more tabloid-style dramatic version that feels like a TV preview article, which would make it even more engaging for fans. Do you want me to do that? Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 7:30 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX and YouTube.